going on, Cavs fans? Spencer German, Spencer Davies with you here at Rocket Arena. Spence, it feels good to be back in this arena. It's been a while. I know you were here on Wednesday. Or Thursday. I was not. But good to be back. Cavs get the win. Cut the magic number to 4, which was a big talking point. I know that we sort of hit on last week on the podcast, trying to close out that 1 seed as they get a little closer. But certainly some fun things to take away from this one. And what was, I think, a pretty hard-fought win against an undermanned Clippers team. No Kawhi Leonard tonight, who obviously was kind of the Cavaliers' killer when they played out west a couple weeks ago. But we'll start, I guess, Spence, with just your overall thoughts on what we sort of witnessed today with the Cavaliers and them coming out victorious.
Well, you got my mind jogging already. You talked about the Cavalier killer Kawhi Leonard. What about the Cavalier killer Ivica Zubac in LA? Yeah. Tonight, the opposite. Great showing from Evan Mobley and Jarrett Allen, and I think that's really where it started. It's not just the physicality, it's just making sure that they had bodies on bodies, making sure that they weren't ball watching, and defensively they were outstanding, and they crashed the glass. And it was a complete flip-flop of what we saw out in Hollywood against Zubac out there. So big contributions from Evan and Jarrett, and did a really solid job on both ends of the floor, really. I mean, I think that Evan had a really solid third quarter, came out looking for teammates, but also on both ends, just the one play that he had against, I can't remember who it was. They had a fast break coming down to the other end and tried to pump fake Evan. And
it was Bogdanovich.
Yeah, it was Bogdanovich.
Because Donovan talked about that play after the game where he was like, there's only a couple players that actually make that play.
Yeah.
He tried to pump fake him, didn't bite, and then just swatted him. It was awesome and stole the ball. It's funny you bring that up because during the game, Spence and I sit next to each other, as you can expect, and he kept kind of leaning over and being like, man, I thought they said this team wasn't physical. Every time Zubac like couldn't handle a pass inside, or they were making life hard for him or whatever.
Oh, they slept in their own beds? My God.
So I got a kick out of that from Spence because he made a point of making it clear, like, listen, like, yeah, they had a tough stretch, and I get why the physicality thing pops up. Mm-hmm. It's kind of the PTSD from a couple years ago against the Knicks. I get it. But, like, I think this team sort of reasserted itself in this one. And proved like, okay, what we were in LA wasn't what we are when we were playing our best. And, we're happy to be back home, get them on your home floor. And they played a better game today, obviously, than they did out there.
They did. And I think that Max Strus is also somebody that's not going to get nearly enough credit today when you look at the box score. But, man, he was picking up James Harden full court the entire game. Him and Dean Wade did a great job. Sam Merrill had some shifts on him. DeAndre Hunter did as well. But I thought that they did a really good job on Harden, making him see bodies and forcing him to pass it to the corner. Most of the time it was Chris Dunn, and the Cavs were like rolling the red carpet out for Chris Dunn to shoot threes the entire game. And at the end, he started to make some, and it just kind of made things a little bit more interesting. But I feel like that game plan was really smart because James Harden couldn't go out and do his normal thing of getting to the free throw line, of the step back threes, and getting comfortable because Max really started to pick him up from the moment the game started. And I think that he did a great job defensively. I also think he did an awesome job of hitting Jarrett Allen in the pocket today. He had some really nice looks to Evan Mobley, and he's just somebody that creates havoc in the half court and doesn't get nearly enough love.
He does. I was blown away by Max Strus tonight. It's funny. I guess today it was more an afternoon game, but regardless, we've talked before about Max, and I hate to, I feel like with this team we do a lot of sort of regurgitating the same thoughts and ideas because that's just kind of the way they are. But like Max does all the little things, like he's always in the right place at the right time. He's always making the right play. He's not like he is a guy who you want to see him get going. And I understand why fans sometimes want to see him do a little bit more on the offensive end. Sometimes he's a streaky shooter. He has bad nights, but even when he's not hitting, he's always making the right pass or the right play. That cut along the baseline, dump it off to Evan Mobley or Jarrett Allen cut into the basket is like one of his go-to plays. The two-man game with both of those guys is just incredible. But man, like he's just fun to watch in that way because he does some of the dirty work for this team and he makes it seems like all the right plays at the right time.
And he looks like the Tasmanian devil doing it too, man. Like you go and look at him trying to close out onto a three-point shooter. He is going to give it his all getting out there. Sometimes to the Cavs' detriment, but most of the time it is something that you just want to see as far as just the hustle and making sure he's diving on the floor, going to save a ball, being in the right place at the right time, as you said, kind of Johnny on the spot. And that's what Max kind of brings to the table. And the Cavs need it all the time, especially, you're coming into this game, you don't have Ty Jerome. Those are the type of plays that I think really stand out. And Kenny couldn't say enough good words about him.
You mentioned at one point during the game, Spence, that this felt like more like a Cavaliers game for this year, where there wasn't some standout player who lit up the box score in terms of points. It was the wealth was kind of spread out, right?
Mm-hmm.
25 for Jarrett Allen, who led the way, 22 for Evan Mobley, who you mentioned. Donovan Mitchell poured in 24 of his own, and a lot of that came in the second half. And he struggled from three. He was 0 for his first 6, then finally hit one right at the end of the third quarter to go 1 for 7. And he ended up finishing the game 2 for 9 on the day. So not a great 3-point shooting night, but with Donovan, it was the fact that he was doing everything else too. He was scoring when he needed to. He finally got that 3-point shot to fall a couple times late, but it was the rebounding. He had 11 defensive rebounds, 12 total. Yep. And I sort of joked with him after the game when he came in for his press conference. Seemed like that fourth quarter, he was really seeking out. He's been looking for that first career triple-double this entire season. He's come up short a couple times. He fell just 4 assists shy tonight, and you could tell that he was actually, he was only 3 assists shy, but he had 4 I think he needed 4 going into the fourth quarter. And I was like, there was a bunch of possessions where he came down and he was just finding the open guy or like finding somebody who he could get the ball to take a shot, and they just kept missing. There was like 3 different times where I think like Dean Wade, Sam Merrill, maybe somebody else had open threes and they missed them. You could tell he was trying to sort of find those looks so he could get there, but he didn't quite get there again. But even the fact that he got close speaks to the impact that he had on this game, and he was doing all the little things for this team.
And he did it in the flow of the game. I will give him that. Yeah. Yes, he was looking for the assist. He
was like, "No, man, I was trying to play the game."
He was looking for the assist, but those are wide open looks. You know, like you had Wade out there, you had Sam out there. I think there was one on a cut to the basket somebody missed, but Donovan, man, he has been amazing as a playmaker. And Kenny pointed out after the game that one of the Spurs people in their organization that he really trusts came up to him and said, "Man, Donovan has evolved. The evolution has been really, really nice." And I think for him, he's starting to get back into his kind of rhythm physically. And he played, 36 something minutes tonight. He's been playing that upper 30s minutes that we've been used to seeing the last couple of years, unlike what we've seen all year long, where the Cavs have been kind of okay to let him play between that like 28 to 32 mark. Now that we're getting towards playoff time, he's starting to up his tick. And the same with the core 4, because Kenny wants them to be ready for the playoffs. That's, I think, important that he's getting that physical advantage back, that endurance is coming back, and you can see that the swagger's coming back too. I mean, don't forget too, you say he's doing it all. What about that dive at the end of the quarter where he's trying to go and grab a rebound? He gets a kind of a loose ball and then dives on the floor amongst 2 or 3 Clippers and grabs it and pulls it away, calls a timeout. Those are the plays that if your leader does those things, that's going to trickle down to the rest of your locker room, and they're going to follow suit.
Yeah, no doubt. That just, that's Donovan in a nutshell, right? Like, this team goes as he goes. He sets the tone in the locker room. He sets the tone on the court. And those little plays make a big difference for this team. And those are the reasons why I agree with everything you said in terms of him just looking more like himself. So, yeah, like I get, and I saw some of the comments on here, people saying Donovan's been looking streaky shooting, and I get it. Like the 3-point shot eluded him again today after he kind of got it back the previous 2 games. I'm not overly worried about it, especially because we know now 2 days off before they play the Knicks on Wednesday. We'll talk about that one here in a second. But before we do, any other players, anybody else that stands out that you wanted to get into?
Yeah, man. I mean, I got to shout out Isaac Okoro. Came in, played 11 minutes, 11 points, and, made a couple of threes, looked really strong again on the defensive end. He's been playing really well for them, honestly, since he's come back to get back into a rhythm. Same with Dean Wade. Those guys are going to be crucial for them come postseason time. So the fact that Isaac's in kind of a groove now and he knows what his role is going to be, and I know that they're still down, Ty Jerome, and that might mix things up a bit, but I feel like Isaac's earned a spot and he's going to be sharing. I think they're going to be 10 deep. I mean, it's interesting to see what they do matchup wise, and we'll get into that on our Courtside with Cavs on SI podcast, I'm sure. But Isaac's been playing some really good ball. He's been playing some energetic ball, and I think he's done a really good job of driving closeouts, playmaking, and also making his threes. So him, and then, I mean, on the other end, you got to give it up to Norman Powell on Clippers tonight. He had a hell of a game, went off for 20 in the second. Cavs did not do a good job of knowing their personnel in that quarter. But then, he just had a really good individual game. I thought that Norm's come a long way too, man. I think that really cool to see kind of his development over the years and into somebody who could have definitely been an all-star this year.
Yeah, and it's funny too because like we talk about some of the issues that this team has had, and fixing these things before the playoffs. This is gonna be the first time the Cavs get a chance to like practice in a long time. I think almost since February. Like it's been a while since they've actually had like a practice because the 2 weeks they were gone, it was mostly travel, right? Like you're playing a game and then the next day you're flying out to wherever you got to go. So
they were in Nashville and played football.
That's what I'm saying. Like so they haven't had like a legitimate practice to like work on some of the things that have gone wrong. So if you kind of notice like some of those things aren't totally fixed, that's probably why. But you could tell today, based on how they played LA and how they played them today, they are certainly taking notes of things and trying to correct things. And I think those things bared themselves out in this game today. So that was good.
But certainly on the rebounding, I think that's where you saw it the most. Like I said, they weren't ball watching. They had body on body, making sure that the corners
were chasing down the long rebound.
They were chasing them
Donovan got a lot of it.
Donovan got his. Garland got in the mix. You had, like I said, Isaac Okoro. Like you can go down the list on the rebounding tonight. And the message was received. And it's funny, you go to our YouTube channel or if you're watching it right now, Kenny Atkinson apparently had some choice words for the team before the game.
Yeah, there was a really funny story. I actually tweeted out just Donovan Mitchell and Jarrett Allen's comments about it from their press conference. It's like a minute long, and he apparently like came in all coy talking about like the Duke game yesterday.
Yeah,
and then he turned it into like he threw like a water bottle, and people were like shocked, and they said like, yeah, that kind of lit a fire under us. So Kenny get a little fiery this time of year, which is, I mean, listen, that's kind of Kenny's personality in some respects. And he's been very candid with us in the media about like how frustrating some things can be at times. So he let it rip, and the team responded today, which I think was awesome. And I'll say this, Spence, because I know you were worried less about this than probably I was, but I kind of felt like they needed this one today to stave off some of the extra pressures of trying to hold on to that 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. And I know like, they talked about it after the game. Kenny Atkinson said, like, it's not something that's like weighing on them all that much. They're not paying a lot of attention to it. But even Jarrett Allen kind of slipped in a little comment about how, yeah, we want to lock that up. Like, we care about that. So I know it's on their minds. And if you lost this one today, that sets the stage for Boston tomorrow to potentially have made it a 3-game lead with still 7 games to go. And there's a little bit of discomfort that comes with that. So you sort of steady that conversation a little bit here with this one. You get 2 days off to rest. You get the Knicks in this building on Wednesday, a team that you played very well against already this year. And that's a little bit of a statement game, I think, as anytime it's the Knicks and they're the 3 seed in the East. You want to certainly, make a statement against them. So we'll see. But I think that sort of sets the tone now for a chance for them to get off their feet for a couple of days and then sort of finish the season strong over the last 7 games.
Like I said, as long as they're home, they're comfortable, they're in the same time zone. They had not been in the same city playing back-to-back games since February 23rd.
That's absurd. That's an absurd stat.
That is insane. So I feel like this part is going to be good for them. They get a day tomorrow. They'll probably practice on Tuesday. It won't be a full day off, of course, but they'll be able to get in there, clean some things up. I saw one of our commenters talking about free throws. Yes, that has definitely been something that has definitely weighed them down a little bit. They got to definitely get at the charity stripe and start figuring that stuff out. And free points are free points, of course, but I feel like the rebounding was the biggest thing that was a concern to me. And obviously the third quarter defense, as we talked about on the podcast, but tonight did a great job. I thought that it was a complete basketball game in my opinion today.
Yeah, I thought the third quarter was much better tonight. 24 points they gave up.
Yep.
Seemed like they were playing a lot more assertively and aggressively, and that was good to see. So that's at least one thing they've started to sort of focus on and correct, and we'll see if they can continue that trend down the stretch of the season. Also can't be understated, 60 wins for this franchise this year. Just the 3rd time in franchise history, I believe, that they've done that.
Correct? And first without who?
He who must not be named. Should we call him? I'm just kidding. We know who it is. It's LeBron. Everything, and Jarrett Allen, I thought had a really good question or answer about sort of along those lines. Cause with the Clippers in town, Ty Lue was here and there was a question asked about just like, him being in the building. Does it sort of refocus you guys on like what your end goal sort of is? Which it sounds like Donovan Mitchell's end goal is he just wants to win a championship so he gets free drinks in Cleveland. I'm just kidding.
That's what he said.
It is what he said, though. But yeah, so like we know that's the end goal here, and that all those things come with like the understanding of, well, if you're going to do this, if you're going to do this, if you're going to do this, it's doing it for the first time since LeBron did. And so it's always kind of this constant getting out from under their shadow. But they understand that and they respect that, and they're hoping to sort of blaze their own path here, which I think is the coolest part of all this.
Absolutely, and it's the core 4 is going to be the one that gets remembered if this is what happens. So I'm excited. I'm strapping in for the ride. And you just said it. The Knicks are in town here on Wednesday. A big one. New York is coming off of a back-to-back on that game. So that's going to probably be helpful for the Cavs. And also, they've been dealing with some injuries too. So I feel like this could be another opportunity for the Cavs to kind of step on the throat. The last time the Knicks were in this building, that's exactly what happened. So I would expect to see the same, to be honest.
Well, and let's be honest. The next time these two teams play is like the second to last game of the season.
Yep.
By then, the Cavs could be resting everybody if they everybody, but like a good majority of the key pieces if they have everything locked up by then. So, certainly always a game that people are going to be paying attention to when the Knicks are in town. Second out of a back-to-back. That might help the Cavs. It will not save the Knicks players, though, from Tom Thibodeau playing them almost 40 minutes. That's just what he always does. Just a small joke. Anyway, guys, we appreciate you stopping by. Head on over, if you're not there already watching this, to the Cleveland Cavaliers on SI YouTube channel. Bunch of post-game stuff that Spence got up there from Kenny to Donovan and Jarrett, who talked at the same time.
And Evan,
and Evan, Evan. That was another thing we didn't even get into.
That's a really good clip.
Everybody needs to start. We need to start a hashtag or something. Evan Mobley DPOY or something. I don't know. We need it because they really want him advocating for himself, but also the media advocating for him to get Defensive Player of the Year because Draymond Green did it, and so why not advocate for Evan now too? If he can speak out publicly, so can Evan. So it was a fun kind of exchange there. You can hear how that kind of went down, just them kind of goading him into saying he should be Defensive Player of the Year. So that was a lot of fun. Too, if you want to do that. It's up there as well. But definitely check out the YouTube channel where many of you might be watching this right now, and head on over to Cavaliers on SI where there's some written content from today as well, including I put up a story about that exact thing. Them sort of goading Evan Mobley into saying he should be Defensive Player of the Year. So a lot of good content out there for you. We'll have plenty more throughout the week, including another episode or maybe 2 episodes potentially of Courtside with the Cavs on SI. Appreciate you guys stopping on by. From Rocket Arena, I'm Spencer German for Spencer Davies. We'll talk to you guys again real soon and keep on following along with all things Cleveland Cavaliers. The Cleveland Cavaliers on SI.